Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the monthly webinar series we call the Metaverse Collective for the Anima Collective, hosted by yours truly, myself, Shirley Lopez. Welcome back, everybody. I see some people are entering our room. Well, welcome in. Come on in. I want to introduce our guest speaker today, Jonathan Foster, who I am very excited about. He's going to share a ton of insight today on what our data tells us about us and about our businesses. Please tell us what it says, Jonathan. I want to, if you are unfamiliar with the Anima Collective, let me tell you a little bit about the Anima Collective. It is a space where soul development and entrepreneurship meet. It is an inclusive community of self-identifying women with an entrepreneurial spirit. Growing together in our true authentic power, we are powerful leaders in our homes and in our communities. We transform the world into a more just, equitable, joyful, creative, connected, and prosperous place. All the positive things in life. If you are unfamiliar with the Anima Collective, please check out their website at theanimacollective.com. All right, so there's my photo and Jonathan as well. Oops, I apologize. I should silence my phone. I will do that in just a second. My name is Shirley Lopez. I have been a member of the Anima Collective since April 2020. I have 2 established legal services companies. My first one is L&L Process, and my second one is Notary Force. And we are nationwide process servers and virtual notaries. I also am working on a startup called Metadime. It hasn't launched yet. Hopefully this year. Cross your fingers, it's launching. But what we're doing is we're building a loyalty and membership platform for businesses. So I want to talk a little bit about our guest speaker, Jonathan Foster. Very excited to have you today. Jonathan has a wow of a bio. So I'm going to read it here. Bear with me because it's very interesting. Jonathan Foster is a seasoned business intelligence guru with 15 years of experience in leveraging technology and data-driven insights to inform strategic decision-making. With a strong background in statistical analysis and data visualization, Jonathan excels in transforming complex data sets into actionable recommendations. I love that. Action. We need it. His expertise spans various industries, including government agencies, private companies, and nonprofit organizations, successfully implementing innovative analytics and leveraging technology to drive business growth and innovation. Jonathan was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and developed his passion for technology and data from an incredibly youthful age. After skipping the 11th grade, he began working as an intern for the state of Maryland, where he was a designer on the eChild platform, now known as MyMThink, offering child support services and payment through a centralized platform. His passion for data literacy expanded, leading him to work for DHS TSA, where his system design and analytical mind led him to the performance engineer for the secure flight program. Yes, he engineered the system that keeps flights safe and security lines low. He would follow that up by going to the DoD, where he designed a system that allowed the Air Force to ensure the compliance of over $1.7 trillion in portfolio investments. Very interesting, Jonathan. Reducing inefficient manual processes by 67%. I mean, if you're going to do it anywhere, you're going to do it in the military, right? In the private sector, he created multiple data repositories that have leveraged dynamic reporting to increase forecast accuracy and actionable intelligence. Jonathan has made his mission has made it his mission to share knowledge and expertise with others, and that's why we're here today. He has spoken at numerous conferences, events, and podcasts, inspiring audiences with their insights into the powerful power of data and analytics. Through engaging presentations and practical demonstrations, Jonathan empowers individuals and organizations to harness the full potential of their data assets. Currently, Jonathan is the CEO at ANF Consulting, where he offers business intelligence services that leverage technology and data insights to increase profitability and efficiency. Jonathan is a father and holds a degree in information science from Morgan State University and countless certifications within the industry. Jonathan is committed to staying at the forefront of the industry, trends, and technologies in the ever-evolving field of data analytics, holding to his 4 E's: principles, exposure, and experience. Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you so much for taking the time for being with us here today. Can't wait to hear about your presentation. I'm going to stop sharing. Tell us more about yourself. Tell us more about what you do.
Yeah, so Shirley, if you're going to introduce me like that all the time, then I have to take you to every conference that I go to or speaking engagement that I have. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with your audience and kind of have a conversation around how to leverage data and technology in a meaningful way to produce actionable intelligence. That's kind of what you mentioned. Being born and raised in Baltimore, migrating over here to Miami, seeing those philanthropic and I would call it entrepreneurism opportunities expand. What I've leveraged to do in creating this particular company is to share that expertise around knowledge and actionable intelligence with businesses, no matter what the industry. We're industry agnostic, so it's not just an IT company, it's not just a data company, and it's not just a workflow productivity process company. We do it all. And we want to provide those insights to different customers so that they can effectively manage their business, reduce waste, and save time. So with that being said, I will teach you how your data is talking to you and making sure that you listen. I think you need to, the sharing. It says it's blocked.
You should be able to.
Disable participant sharing screen. Let's see.
While you're sharing, let's say hi to a couple of people. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Mara. Hi, Will. Hello, hello. If you have any burning questions in the meantime, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay. We're going to make this interactive. Jonathan's going to be right back. He's going to come back with his presentation. And we want to make this a learning kind of workshop on diving right into data in your business. So no worries, Jennifer. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So let's give Jonathan another minute. Does anybody want to introduce themselves, say hi? We have a couple of minutes here. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
I'm Matt. I oftentimes have things happening at this time of the day when the metaverse is happening. So I'm excited to be here for the first time and looking forward to what Jonathan has to share. And I'm Jen. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. And Jen, what do you do? You're Anima Collective member, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm a life and wellness coach, and well, I would say health too. Life, health, wellness, that realm of work. And I do, I work one-on-one with people, but I also do workshops and things like that.
Oh, good.
Challenges and
Okay.
group work and one-on-one work, that sort of thing. So,
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love coaches. Coaches are great. Everyone needs a coach.
oh my gosh. And especially the people who don't think they need one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
I often have a fun time helping them realize that sometimes.
I know a couple of those people. So hold on one second. It looks like Jonathan's still having, Jonathan, you should be able to. I don't have any, but I'll make you a host right now. That'll make it easier. Okay. Let me know if that helps. Jonathan. Mara, are you also an Anima Collective member?
Hi, how are you? I'm driving, but yes, I'm an Anima Collective member as well.
Wonderful. And what do you do?
I'm a yoga instructor. I teach mainly, I teach to like everybody, so I don't ever turn anyone away. I believe that, everybody can, do yoga. I think that's, I would never turn anyone away, I guess I should say, but I like to teach the chronic illness space. I personally have multiple sclerosis, so I like to fall into that space. I teach a lot of chair classes. I'm soon going to move into the workshop space here soon. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
and just like Jennifer, I usually have something at this time, so I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for participating. And it looks like now we're back. So Jonathan,
We're good
take
to
it
go.
away. Sorry about technical difficulties, everybody. But you know what?
We learn through iteration.
It's a
right?
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone being on the call, attending live, and also that'll view the recording later. I would want to make sure that your time is well spent and the conversation is fruitful. So let's talk about your data, right, and what it's doing and how we can leverage it so we can grow your business utilizing data and technology. So the benefit of spending your time, hopefully everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
The benefit of spending your time is one, it follows my kind of 4E methodology. One is that we're going to expose you. Two, you're going to have an experience. Three, we're going to educate you. And then four, we're going to have some education around it, or center around the call to action of execution. The exposure is that you'll start thinking differently, right? You'll start interpreting data as not being just some digital thing. We all have data that rests inside of us. Sometimes tapped in, sometimes not tapped in. So we're going to play a little, have a couple of exercises around getting that data unlocked, so that way we can think of things more analytically and understand kind of the questions and the root cause of what we're trying to ascertain or answer. Two is the experience. You'll know how to use your personal and professional experiences and that are helpful tools. These are helpful tools for you to be able to navigate how to think critically and how to leverage your data in a meaningful way. And then using it to answer questions. Number three is the education. I'll inform you about the different tools and the different methodologies available that'll teach yourself as well as your staff how to deliver the results that you're looking for. Sometimes we have a really smart individual on our team, and they produce high volume of, they have a high volume of productivity, but it's not shared, and those methodologies are isolated. We want to make sure that that gets expanded and shared out amongst all the employees and all of your staff. And then the last part is the execution. You'll understand the journey that it takes to really finite and really drive in data results utilizing technology, and like it to do what you need it to do. All right. So with that being said, to get your mind frame in the spirit of things, right? I do these little brain teasers. Will probably jump out of his chair because I talk to him on a regular basis. He's a friend of mine. But for a mindset exercise, we're going to play a little game here. And if you have some thoughts or some answers, please don't hesitate to share them. But a woman is pushing her car. She arrives at a hotel and she tells the hotel owner, "I can't pay the rent. I'm bankrupt." What has happened to this woman? Any ideas?
Financial troubles.
Financial troubles. Okay, that's a good answer. Jennifer, any insight?
She made a poor choice of car she purchased.
That's also true. That can also be true. That can also be true. Miriam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Will, do you have any ideas?
Plenty, but I also know the answers. You've got to think a little bit outside of the box is the tip I'll give.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she trying to get a free Stay at the hotel.
Use an insurance claim, all right, okay. Shirley, do you have an answer? Maria,
I-
I'm not gonna ask
no.
you.
My analytical brain right now is not thinking creatively.
Okay, no problem. So a lot of good answers, right? Some of them, all plausible, right? She could have bought an expensive car. She could have had bad money decisions or bad management as far as money. That was a good direction to go into. But the answer that we were kind of looking for is that she's playing Monopoly, right? The car is a piece. The hotel is a piece of property, right? That she can land on. And the concept of the game is to not go bankrupt, right? So what happens a lot of times when we're answering questions within our business, we try to think about like whatever the quickest answer is, right? But it doesn't go through the logic test of, okay, is that a plausible solution that answers all parts of the problem, right? We'll just say, all right, well, she crashed the car into the hotel. Some of the answers I've heard, she got a divorce and that's why she's bankrupt. All of these different things, they're plausible, but there's one answer that kind of solidifies and answers all aspects of the problem, right? And that's where we want to utilize data in our brains, in our minds, to think creatively about our entire experience in life, right? We've all played Monopoly before, I'm sure. So we have to try to channel into that data so that way we can ask the right questions, so that way we can produce the right answers as a business owners, right? So what is leverage? The exertion of force by means of a lever or an object used in a manner of a lever. No, that don't sound right. That doesn't sound right. That's not what we intended it to mean, right? No, send that answer back, right? How about this one? We use borrowed capital and investment, expecting the profits that may be greater than the interest of the payable. Nah. It can be, yeah, it makes sense, right? It's a logical approach to it. But I think a definition we would all agree on, and mind you, I should have said this in the beginning, all of these exercises and all of these little things are on purpose and intentional. It's not by accident. I think the last one is the one that makes sense. The power of influence a person or a situation to achieve a particular outcome. We agree that that's what leverage is, right? So we want to empower and influence our companies within our situation to achieve a particular outcome. Profitability, capital, return on investment, all of those things. So I'm going to teach you how to leverage data and technology in order to accomplish that. And what we do to do that is that we're going to leverage, this is kind of our mission and vision, right? Vision, mission, vision and mission. That goes in their hand, right? So leveraging the data. We leverage the data by sorting it and organizing the data in a meaningful way, right? A lot of people, we all live in homes, we all have apartments, condos, whatever it is. We all have a junk drawer, right? That everything goes into, right? It is not a useful drawer at all, even though it serves a purpose and it's in everyone's home, right? But if we use that drawer more productively, now it's not a wasted drawer. Now it's not a wasted space. If we organize it and sort it in a meaningful way, so that way we can get best use out of it. We're now starting to maximize our potential, not only within our homes, but also within our companies, right? So there should be no wasted space, right? We want to make sure that we're efficiently targeting things and organizing things in a meaningful way. And then we leveraging technology. What do I mean by that? We leverage the technology through automation, right? Manual processes are more of a thing of the past. We don't do those things anymore. There's a lot of automation and simplistic, repeatable processes that are available within our organizations that we don't have to pay somebody to do it, or we don't have to manually go through doing it, or experience in some of the instances in which somebody does it wrong. And now we have to go back and redo it again, right? Wasted work. So I usually coin the phrase, things the computer can do, let the computer do it. If it's available, like for instance, like Alexa, I'm even scared to say it because she might go off in my conduct. but let those technology pieces do what they're designed to do. That was the intent. And that not only saves you time, energy, money, but also keeps you highly efficient and reduces waste, right? So that's kind of our goal in this conversation, is to kind of unlock what those things are and how we can leverage data and technology in a meaningful way. All right. Right. So we'll talk about leveraging data, right? So there's 4 pillars of leveraging data, and these things are essential. If you don't have them, you may have one of the 4 components, 2 of the 4, 3 of the 4. But if you miss one of these components, you're going to struggle, and there's going to be a roadblock to unlocking your maximum potential. So the 4 pillars to leveraging data is data centralization, data normalization, data presentation, and then the data story. And I'll go over each one of them more detail in the upcoming slides. So data centralization. Jonathan, what the heck are you talking about? Right? I have a system, I have an application, the data is in there somewhere doing something, right? But as we all know, we pull information and we get stimulus from, in our brains and our psyches from multiple places, right? Multiple sources. So as a business owner, we want to ask, where's the source? Where is the data coming from? Do I have the sources necessary to answer the questions that I need, right? So if we're, managing a business, we have, marketing, we have accounting, we have finance, we have procurement, we have all of these different divisions within our organizations, and we need to know where they're sourcing their information from. This is where I usually say, if your information comes off of spreadsheets, then you have no traceability. So we want to make sure that we are pulling the data from the right places and checking the authoritative sources. If I were to submit to you my bank statement on a spreadsheet, you would say, I have no way to validate that that's the amount of money that you have. So why would we encourage that within our businesses and within our organizations? Let's get to the authoritative sources and start pulling that information out. That goes to the second bullet. How is the data brought in, right? How am I getting this information out of the authoritative sources from, some kind of mechanism, whether it be an API, which is basically like an interface that connects between 2 systems, whether it's a CSV, which is a flat file, it doesn't have any kind of nuances or fat fingers in it, it's automated. Or are you scraping? Scraping is literally, I put a website on the board and you comb through the website to find different pieces of information that you want, right? Scraping is ridiculously expensive. I don't suggest anybody do it. Sometimes it's necessary, but it is expensive. CSVs are a lot easier to come across, and APIs require some kind of coding to work within your systems and within your platforms. So there are a lot easier methods to get the data out from the authoritative source, right? Now that I got the data out of the authoritative sources and it's centralized in this one place, I need to make sure it's secure, right? We see it happen all across different companies within different organizations, data breaches, right? Information based off of need to know, right? Which is really big in my government experience. Need to know. Not everybody needs to know everything, and not all data is available to everyone. So we want to make sure whatever we implement, however we implement it in this centralized place, that hackers and other people cannot leverage or influence the data in that centralized place, right? Because we're going to hold that as the source of truth, right? And we want to get as close to the truth as we possibly can. And then lastly, where does the data go, right? It basically means that after I've got the authoritative sources, I pulled it from Salesforce, I pulled it from marketing, I pulled this from accounting, I pulled this from finance, and it's in this centralized place so I can make it meaningful. It's all brought in, it's all secure, and it's all nice and tight. Where does it go? What am I supposed to do with it, and how is it going to be used, and who's going to be using it, right? So That's the last component of data centralization. And that goes into our next one, which is data normalization, right? It's going to go places. So how do we normalize it? How do we make it make sense, right? Just like I went through the three different definitions of leverage, right? How do we agree on what to call things? The way that we agree on what to call things is through sorting and arranging, right? You see this lovely graphic that I have here on the side or what have you. Data is all jumbled up all over the place, almost like that junk drawer that I mentioned before. We need to take everything out of it and sort it appropriately to make sure that things are categorized and organized in a meaningful way, right? And then the last part, we want to arrange it. Common nomenclature, calling things the same thing and not calling one thing a apple in one place and then a green apple in another, right? An apple is an apple. The second part of it is a color, right? So that's two distinguishing columns or characteristics within your data. You wouldn't say apple and then green apple. It would make data very convoluted and difficult to sort. But if you say I have apples and then you have all different kinds of apples and then you have color as a separate column, now you can say how many apples are green, how many apples are red. And now you could start to drive some better analytics and data off of that. So arranging is a really, really big piece of cultivating and leveraging data. And the third piece is the presentation, right? Everybody's seen these charts and graphs and all this cool widgets and all that other stuff before, right? Or spreadsheets and, you know, circle diagrams and all that other stuff. We all love them, right? We all do, right? But we want to make sure that the graphs are appropriate. We want to make sure the charts are appropriate. We want to make sure the tiles are appropriate. And the performance tiles especially are appropriate. What the data and the technology blending them together allows you to do is see something at a very high level, our executive level, our president level, our management level, and then drill down into the details, right? So you want to have flexibility in being able to say, at a very high level, I saw that our performance revenue per campaign, increased by 16.3 million. Okay, well, what does that mean? How did we get there? What subcategories led to that revenue increase, right? That's what the presentation is really supposed to drive out of the conversation, right? Is the ability to say, I have 16.3 million, and this is how I got there, which is a really, really important question that we want to answer as executives of how did I get there? We got there, that's great, but how did we get there? So that way we can now tell a effective data story, right? So what is a data story? What does all this mean, Jonathan? What are you trying to say? Like, what are we doing, right? And we all have experienced and heard stories in our lives, and they're very memorable things, right? I'll use Disney as an example. Everybody remembers Pinocchio, right? Pinocchio had was a wooden toy, and then it became a boy and learned all of these life lessons and stuff like that. And you were seeing throughout the story how he learned these lessons and how he became a boy and how, those particular life lessons manifested him into being a boy and being with Geppetto, right? So we want the same thing to come from our data, right? We want to know, how did we get here, right? And just like as I asked you in the mindset question, how do we get here with a logical response, right? Oh, it's just the market. Oh, it's just, we had a really good sales month, or, the environment, turned in our favor if you do environmental architectural stuff, right? Oh, it just happened. No, nothing just happens. Everything has a diligence, a process, a procedure, the things that go through. And we want to be able to capture what those elements are, so that way we can add efficiencies and hopefully get to a point where we can repeat them or make changes if things are going awry, right? A lot of times we'll say, all right, well, somebody's doing something wrong, or, we're not hitting our numbers and we want to know why, right? And then everybody scrambles back to their spreadsheets and try to figure out why. Well, if the data is sorted, the data is arranged, the data is arranged, the visualization is there, right? And we have a story of how each one of these particular pieces got there. That allows us to find that answer a lot quicker than kind of reinventing the wheel, spinning our wheels, or going just off of our gut instinct from something that happened many, many moons ago that was an outlier, right? Now, I'll use this as an example, right? You know, COVID impacted the entire world's economy, right? Now, beforehand, nobody predicted it, right? There were scientific studies, there was all kinds of stuff that would say, okay, in the event that this may happen, this is things that you may want to consider, right? I credit it speeded up evolution, right? We now do Zooms. If not, we would have been sitting in some conference hall having the same conversation. But it impacted the entire economy, and nobody took the insight to say, well, what if this happens, right? And doing that kind of predictive analytics. And that's what I want to encourage all of you to do, is to kind of think of scenarios, even though they may sound crazy, even though the lady could have ran into the hotel or got a divorce or had an expensive car or made bad money decisions or what have you. We need to prepare for those scenarios so that way when they do become true, we have a strategy and a plan for how we want to address it, right? We can't just think every day is going to be a great day. We need to plan for the occasional, I didn't see that coming, and start thinking about what may be coming within our businesses. And leveraging a data story will help us do that. All right. So another mind exercise. Whew, I know this is like, this is a math class. I don't know. This guy got me thinking, right? So with this one is, what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Hey, Will, if you know the answer, man, don't even say it.
He's unmuted though.
Yeah,
Bill.
Will is a really good friend of mine. We have these
Oh.
conversations all the
I've
time.
got a lot of
Gotta
people
cheat.
shouting around me too, sparing everyone.
Will, you
I'm clueless.
want to give a hint?
I actually don't know this one. You haven't actually asked me this one before, but I think the word can also be just a letter.
Could be, could be, could be. I
The
wouldn't
word short becomes shorter when you add ER, right?
Oh, love it, Jennifer. Love it. Yay. I should
Well
give
done.
prizes out. I should give prizes out for these answers. Thank you, Jennifer. That's exactly it. The word short becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it, right? So obviously these brain things are working, right?
Not on me. They're not working on me.
Oh, no. We'll get there, Shirley. I got you. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, right, is because we want to talk about things getting shorter and not longer. And that's how we leverage technology, right? Long drawn out processes that used to take hours, days, weeks, months, years, all of these different things become shorter by leveraging technology. So Jonathan, how do we do that? How do we leverage technology? Well, we leverage technology in 3 different ways, right? And there's kind of 3 different mindsets that we need to have. One is automation, right? If it's something that is a repeatable task that somebody has to do every single day, every single week, once a week, bi-weekly, whatever it is, automate it. Automate it and get it off of your books, right? To allow for people to do more fruitful, focused work to add value to your business. Let the computer compute. Let the computer do it, if possible. The second category is leveraging software and tools. And I'll go into that in more detail later on. And then the last one is methodologies, right? I don't know you know, various companies have various levels of approaches when it comes down to technology. Some of them have like tech support and excuse me, just base bare bones tech support. Some of them have some kind of innovative, you know, guy or consultant or somebody like that, me, come in and basically kind of help you out in your technology journey. But what we try to do and what you should try to do within your organization is apply some of these technical methodologies, not only within the tech space, right? The software, the hardware that you use, but maybe even implement it throughout your teams. Because the one thing that I've learned in these kind of different spheres and experiences is that, you know, we try so hard to get it right the first time that we miss out on the value that we've added incrementally over time, right? And we want to make sure that we get as many solutions, possible solutions, combinations of solutions as possible, as opposed to saying, well, it wasn't perfect, scrap it, send it all back, right? We want to make sure that we iteratively go through this journey and process. So when I talk about automation, automation is one of the most effective cost-saving approaches to any business. It's transparent, it's faster, and it reduces error rates, right? And some of the companies or software platforms that offer automation are listed here on the side. I did consider the psychology of this. I'm not picking Catlin to be number one. It's literally just organized that way on the slide. See, I think it use your brain, right? So, but they're just options, right? Not one is better than the other. Some are more tailored to certain applications more than
And what exactly do they automate?
they automate work tasks. So Workato can basically act as a bot to basically do whatever a manual person would have done. So let's say, for instance, you have a person who, you know, takes a spreadsheet, right, and takes the information from column A, B, and C, and then copies it to another spreadsheet and then uploads it on SharePoint, right? If you didn't have a software to do that, Workato would have done that for you, right? Instead of somebody manually, okay, highlight column A, B, and C, copy it, paste it over on this spreadsheet, make sure it has this name, and then upload it on SharePoint. So anything that a human would have normally touched or done, or something that doesn't have an API connection to it, to allow for an interface to happen, these services and products will allow you to do that.
Okay. Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that we want to make sure happens within the technology is the automation, right? The other aspect of technology that we want to do is leveraging software, right? You know what? Let me go back to automation just for 1 second. The most expensive words in IT is this is the way that we've always done it. So because that is the most expensive words in IT, we literally have to come up with new ways, innovative ways to save costs and money. And what happens is that a lot of times when consultants such as myself come into an organization, they tell me how they always done it, and they want the technology to match the way that they always have done it. I'll ask the question around the group, is that efficient? Are we adding efficiency by just using technology to repeat the same thing that we already done? No. So we have to have a mindset to leverage automation in a more productive and efficient way. So that way we can get new ideas. Maybe we've been doing it wrong for so long and we just didn't know it. So we want to put those suggestions and those kind of creative thinking mechanisms in place so that way we can evaluate solutions and use the technology to help us. And the way that we could do that is leveraging software, right? I mentioned some of the software automation platforms. These are some of the technical software platforms that handle storage and reporting, right? Which is what we're here for, to leverage data and to leverage technology to give you better reporting and actionable intelligence, right? I'd be doing a big disservice if I skipped over this, right? So for storage, there's different platforms, right? To centralize your data. You have Snowflake, you have AWS, you have Google, BigQuery. Basically, you pull any authoritative source, whatever the source is, it goes into these systems. It's centralized and it can attach to anything else that you want to connect it to, right? It could be a reporting platform. It could be another piece of software, could be, some of them have native reporting capabilities within them. You can use those as well, but they're not as flexible as some of the reporting tools that you would connect it to, right? And the reporting tools such as Power BI, Tableau, Google Analytics allow for the visualization and the data story to truly come alive. And once you can have that data story truly come alive, you have your data secure, you're really, really rocking and rolling within your organization and within your business. You're making more effective business decisions, and you're not wasting time trying to figure out where the pain points are, where the errors are, who did it, who didn't get trained, all of those different things. These are all optimized to basically normalize everything and standardize everything within your organization. So there's no misalignment, there's no bad logic. Everybody agreed to it. That's the way that we should go, right? So the last part of technology is the methodologies, right? I don't know if you're familiar with these methodologies: Agile, DevOps, and Kanban, right? So with Agile, it's an iterative approach to managing software development or projects, focusing on continuous releases, right? Kind of how I mentioned in the beginning, we want to make sure that we iterate, right? We don't waste a lot of time trying to get it perfect the first time, right? So we want to have continuous iteration with customer feedback of whether or not we're on the right track. So that way we're not starting a project that's going to be 6 months, and at month 5, day 29, I see it and it's a complete miss. I wasted all of the money, I wasted all the time, I wasted all the energy, and they didn't even solve my problem, right? This methodology allows you to constantly see the iterative process of the matriculation of whatever the product is, right? So it could be, we're focusing on building data, a data repository, so that way we can get better analytics. You would have seen not only iterations within the centralization, you would have seen iterations within the product and how it comes in, the authoritative sources, how they go in and out of the system. You would have seen every step of the way, right? It's basically like sitting at a sushi bar and they make it right in front of you, right? That is, and you're able to tell the chef, no, I don't want the eel, I want the salmon, as you go along. It's as opposed to waiting until the end and then saying, this is not what I wanted. You take it all back. So this agile methodology, and it's a methodology, it's not an approach, it's not, anything like that, is basically conditioning your teams to basically think iteratively. We don't have to get it perfect the first time. Let's iterate and make sure that each iteration gets better, because iteration 3 may solve a problem that hasn't come up yet, but it may be the perfect solution for when that situation comes up, right? DevOps is a set of practices and tools, cultural philosophy to automate and integrate processes between software and IT, right? So basically, all of the automation that I'm talking about is kind of like DevSecOps. We basically take all of the things that you would have normally done, or a person would have normally done, and try to automate them with processes around it to make sure that they're flowing correctly, right? So it's giving us the information that we need, the data that we need, the processes that we need, and we are reducing the manual error significantly, right? I don't know how many times I've worked with customers and they're on spreadsheets, and there's only one person that has the spreadsheet on their laptop and nobody else has access to it. Some of the technology that you see available, like everything being on the cloud, is a remnant of utilizing DevSecOps, is to literally say, we're not going to centralize these things anymore. We're now going to share it within the organization, so that way everybody's on the same page and utilizing that logic. And the last one is a Kanban. Basically what it is that work is separated into 4 categories: a backlog, doing, review, and done, right? So if we give an employee a task or whatever, there's actually boards that you can put in your office or within your organization, digital ones as well, and say, okay, this is what we're going after today. This is a more focused approach to the day in, day out activities. And I can say, all right, these are the things you asked me to do. These are the things that I'm working on. These are the things that I completed and I need you to review. And these are the things that are done, right? If you follow this methodology, you will know exactly where things are, whether or not they need to be reviewed, and whether or not they got completed. We tend to, in organizations, give people a whole bunch of free-for-all. You know, you just know what you need to do. You've been here for 6 months. You know what you need to do. Sometimes they don't, and they get new direction, new tasks that they want to complete or need to complete, and they need to prioritize it and put a sense of urgency around certain things. And this Kanban board helps them keep organized as to what they're working on, whether or not they need it to be reviewed by someone, or whether or not they're done. And the definition of done is set by the owner or the product owner or the company owner, right? You determine whether or not it's done or not, right? I can sit here and say, I can build you a report that has some data analytics on it, and it makes no sense to anyone. Am I done? Everybody would say no, right? You didn't meet my need. You didn't address my concern. You didn't help me get to the result that I wanted. So you're not done. And then I would go back and then change it again. But if I left it to me, I did what you asked me to. You said that this is what you wanted. And then even, I'll use this as an example. When this webinar is done, it'll be my definition of done. It may not be Shirley's definition of done, but it may be mine or the collective's definition of done. So we want to make sure that we remove that ambiguity and we understand exactly that we're defining things the right way, cohesive way, to drive us to our ultimate result in our journey. So I did a lot of talking, right? We had some mindset games, you know, we were starting to think a little bit more critically, a little bit differently and stuff like that. So how do we leverage data and technology, Jonathan? I mean, I appreciate you spending all this time going over all this stuff. It was really, really nice, Shirley, putting all this together. What's the journey, right? So the journey is a really simple one. First, we centralize the data. One stop, one shop. Shouldn't be in multiple places, shouldn't have multiple, different versions of the truth. It should be centralized, one place, easy to secure, easy to maintain, easy to know who has access and who doesn't. Second part of the journey, normalize the data, right? Talk about data. That's not a bad word. Talking about analytics and artificial intelligence, AI, and all that other stuff, those are not bad words. Talk about it, socialize it, right? And then normalize the data. Let's come up with those different logical explanations as to how things happened and define and come up with clear definitions as to what things mean. Green is a color, it's not an apple. Red is a color, not an apple, right? So we want to make sure that we have those definitions so that way we can normalize the data. Third piece of the journey, the data story, right? The actionable intelligence. Jonathan, you put all of this stuff on my screen, all of these numbers. Yeah, we're doing great. Oh, we're not doing so great. How do we get here? What does it mean? And then what am I supposed to do now that I know, right? We get weather forecasts every morning by the meteorologists, right? They give us that information. They tell us the temperature, the degree, where the winds are coming from, and all that other stuff. It is left up to us to decide what we're going to do with that information, right? Am I going to bring a raincoat? Am I going to dress differently? The suede shoes that I really planned on wearing doesn't sound like a good idea because there's a hurricane coming. Those things is the actionable intelligence that we want. And other entities, all these other entities, I use the weather as an example, already utilize it. I'm gonna put this information in front of you So you can now take an action. And if you decide to take that action, now you have increased your efficiency, right? And what you're doing. And then the last piece is automate. I can't stress this enough. If it's something that is repetitive and it happens all the time, automate it. Let the computer do it. I don't want to say Alexa because I don't want her to go off, but let the computer do it. If there is something that, you know, calculates your finances for you, let the computer do it. This is where I would pause on saying AI, because AI is just going to give you suggestions. It's not going to do anything for you, right? But you want to automate as many things as you possibly can, so that way you save time, energy, cost, and reduce errors, right? So with all of that being said, and leveraging the data and the technology, let's take this journey together and go for a walk, right? So Jonathan Foster, A&F Consulting. Thank you for your time. I greatly
Thank you so much, Jonathan. That was a really great presentation. I myself took away a couple of things there. One thing that I'll add is you can stop sharing if you
Yeah.
have. Is you said to have your data centralized. Not centralized, where it's shared. And man, I've been such a big proponent of that for so many years, because it is one of my pet peeves when somebody sends me an Excel. It really is. And it's like, why isn't this on a shareable Excel? What you could just send me the link and you can update it and I can just check the link. You don't need to send me another Excel again. And and then not only that, but just the ease of finding information or anything you want is just in a centralized place, you know? So, and I like to say, do this from the very beginning of when you're starting your business. All those methodologies that you were talking about, I have at some point I do all of those in my business. Just kind of naturally, just kind of naturally. But and I love the Kanban. The Kanban is a game changer in getting stuff done. But everything you said is so true to doing it at the very beginning and mapping that out, and how because it also sets the tone of what kind of business, how you run your business. It sets your tone for your employees, and
Right.
how easy you're making it for them, you know, and how they're gonna love their jobs because it's so easy, you know, you know. So this is great. Anybody else want to chime in and have a comment?
Just want to say thank you so much. The information is very helpful. I really found it interesting.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody else? Mara?
I have a question actually. So, I mean, I'm just like very small business, and I'm going to be running things a little bigger than that I'm used to coming up soon, and I really need to get my finances in better standing, I guess you should say, or more organized. And so I have been thrown into a lot of conversations about how to organize those finances. And so you, Jonathan, have brought up a couple of things that have been very interesting, and how to flow my business to a more organized way. And you're not the first person that has wanted to do that, but it's the expense that you take as a small business. Well, I know it's a total investment, but it's the investment as a small business, when you are not bringing in the overall investment, if you don't have that, what we call capital, to start that. And so you have to gain the capital first. And for someone like me who teaches to a lot of free classes or, oh, look, I got a thumbs up for you guys, but I put it down. I'm not used to that.
How does that happen? I don't even know.
I don't know. I
It's
just
the
put it like a
iPhone on
thumb
the
up.
iPhone. Does
So you
it.
got a
But,
thumbs up.
Mara,
from
you
it.
know, there are so many affordable resources out there for small businesses. There's
But
starter
it's like,
plans
I
for
need someone to
everything.
teach me more that's like gonna teach me without wanting me to spend money on their program. So that's what I get a lot is like, yeah,
I mean,
I'll
Jonathan's
help
a
you.
consultant and he'll consult large, companies
Large or small, because
or small.
I'm
I won't
tool
speak for him.
agnostic, right? And I've heard that same feedback over time, right? Is that I got a small business, I got a couple employees, I would love to get to that position, but I'm not Google, I'm not Netflix, all these different ones. But and a lot of times they will push a tool to you, right? So,
Mhm.
you have to use this tool and you need this, and this, right? I'm tool agnostic, right? That's why none of this a majority of this conversation, pretty much all the conversation, didn't focus on a particular tool.
Mhm.
The approach is that you have to put the framework together, the methodology together first,
Right,
and then we can select the tools that are better suited to meet you,
correct.
right? That
And
are
that's what I understood about what you were saying. And so for most of the conversations I've had before, it's like, oh, okay, here I've done all this work for you. It's going to be very simple, but you have to invest in my program. This
No.
is my program, and I'm going to help you, but I want to understand what my I want to understand from the very beginning like how my business is flowing cash and flowing this and that because I'm not quite understanding that from the very beginning,
Right.
because I'm that small. Like I'm just one person,
Right.
like I'm that small. And like,
I
so
can tell
you're,
you when I started, when I was one person, because I was in your shoes, I started with QuickBooks and it was like $25 a month. And
right.
it'll help you sort all of that. It'll give you the reports. You'll see all your expenses. You'll be able to categorize what's revenue, what's not, what's an expense, what's an investment, what all those things, what's payroll. You can tag all of that. You can categorize it, and then the reports. And they have a good support. So you can call, even if you call them, they do have really good support for small businesses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna use Wix for some, like for a little
The
bit,
website.
but like, yeah,
I
but I
used
don't,
Wix too.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
So
my first
I have,
website until I paid somebody thousands of dollars for my website. But yeah, I used Wix for my first website.
so I mean, I just had it rebuilt on Wix and I love my website right now, but Wix also charges a commission.
Agreed. It's a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing that's gonna happen overnight. I wish there was a magic bullet to
Right.
make every company successful, but that would be kind of somebody has to lose if everybody wins. But it is a journey, and it's an iterative journey, right? That's why I
Yeah.
kept talking about iteration, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, you may start off like Shirley mentioned, you may start off with QuickBooks, then you start getting the methodology, your cash flow, understanding your knowledge together, right? And then as your business expands, you go to another platform, right? And then you go to another platform, and now you're getting competitive information, and you're rocking and rolling, right? So understand, like, it's not going to be from 0 to 1 million in the beginning.
Right.
It's going to take those iterations.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about growing very small and taking my time and, I've been doing this for 7 years and I'm okay with where I'm going and, like taking it 1 year at a time. So I'm okay with that. So, but like now I need to like really like, I'm about to run a retreat. So like, I need to like,
Yeah, you need to
really,
organize yourself.
yeah, I need to organize
To,
myself.
to scale,
So
yeah.
to scale that money that's about
My
to flow.
my advice is to buddy up with some another member at the Anima Collective,
Mhm.
and just pick their brain on how they started their business.
Mhm.
And that's part of the reason why, you know, there's resources in Anima Collective, so that we can talk to other members and see how, you know, their experiences as an entrepreneurs.
Right.
I can sit down with you and I can tell you exactly how I did it. And I did it
Okay.
on penny pinching.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 7 years, so I know that I'm here and I'm gonna do it. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so much, guys, for participating and for being here. It's 1 o'clock. We're out right on time. Jonathan, thank you again so much. Amazing information. And I'm going to quickly share my screen super fast just for the recording, because it has Jonathan's information and I don't want to shy away from that. So if you want to connect with Jonathan, there is a QR code right here. You can scan that. That's his LinkedIn. And you can connect with him at jfoster@anfoster.com. I just want to make sure that's on the recording. So guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much again, Jonathan, and thanks all for participating.
Thanks,
You have a great
Collective.
day.
Thank you, Shirley, for having me. Appreciate it.
you.
Bye.
Thanks.